Hi guys, Troy at the Full Setup here, back with another video for you today, and today we are going to be doing a review of the Deepcool Castle 240 RGB AIO liquid cooler. You can see it next to me here. This is probably the most beautiful looking AIO cooler on the market at the moment. Now, I already have an unboxing of this on my channel, plus I have a video of the CF120 RGB fans as well, so make sure you check those out. So we're going to take you in for a closer look, and then I'm going to come back at the end of the video with my pros and cons, and there will be some cons because no product is ever perfect. As already mentioned, I'm reviewing the 240 radiator version today, but the Deepcool Castle is also available in a 280 variant, which is a first for Deepcool. Now, there's no 120mm versions available, but Deepcool do offer 120s for the rest of their range, so I wouldn't put it past them releasing one at a later date. Both the radiator and braided tubing are finished in black, and I really do hope they release a white version. My only complaint about the tubing is the same complaint I made about the Captain cooler, and that is that it's a little on the short side. Now, shorter tubing is something I personally prefer compared to NZXT coolers, but if you have a full-size tower, you will have to make sure it has an option for top-mounted radiators. But mid-towers like the fantastic P range from Fantex have no issues mounting this cooler in the front. The two included CF120 fans feature fully addressable 5V RGBs. If you're new to addressable RGBs, I will discuss them a little bit later in the video. The fans feature the same lighting effects as the CF120 fans, but run 300 RPM higher at 1800 RPM. But that's not the only difference. Both the center sticker logo and anti-vibration pads are different to the CF120 fans. It's not hugely noticeable, but I know for a builder who wants an all-matching build, it might set off your OCD a bit. As well as the fans, Deepcool also include a 4-fan PWM splitter and fan extension cable. Anyway, enough about the fans, over to the Deepcool Castle showpiece, that pump block combo. The almost Coke can size monster features a double-sided mirror, giving what Deepcool claim to be a truly immersive ambient lighting design. And I must say I agree, and I currently think you will struggle to find a better looking RGB AIO on the market. Deepcool have really set a new standard with this cooler. As well as being the perfect RGB centerpiece, the Castle also features a faster pump than the Captain cooler at 2550 RPM, up from 2100. The Castle comes with every mounting option you would consider pairing this cooler with, including X299 and Threadripper TR4 mounts, but today I'm going to focus on installing on mainstream Intel and AMD sockets. Start by screwing the mounts for your socket to the water block. You now want to clip in the screws to the multi-bracket. The Intel label goes against the motherboard for Intel and AMD facing in for AM4 and AM3. Now just pop a small amount of the included thermal paste on your CPU and screw down your cooler. Just remember, you only want to finger tighten your screws. As mentioned earlier, both the fans and water block feature addressable RGBs. Now, addressable or digital RGBs run at 5V versus the 4-pin 12V you're more familiar with. So this cooler and the CF120 fans will not work with your 4-pin headers. But don't let that put you off. The included controller that hooks up to a SATA power port has tons of effects, and there will be a full demo of this at the end of the video. But what about hooking up to your motherboard? Well, unlike the 4-pin standard you're used to, digital RGBs currently use two different types of headers, but Deepcool include both. The 3-pin standard most commonly used by Gigabyte, and the 4-pin width with only 3 pins used by Asus and MSI. And it also looks like it's on the Gigabyte B450 motherboards as well. I know it's crazy, but both cables are included. As well as the controller and sync cables, you also get the same 4-device RGB splitter cable that is also included with the CF120 fans. This allows you to add multiple kits to one header, as shown in this video. So you may have noticed the fans are all pushing air out of the system. It's not going to go that well when I put the glass back on, is it? So with the radiators fans pushing air into the system, it's time for a couple of benchmarks. Paired with an i5-8400 and a GTX 1060, the Deepcool Castle has no trouble keeping things in check, even with an ambient temperature of 27 degrees. Playing Battlefield 1, temps are staying within the mid-40s running the Asus Turbo fan profile. This is my go-to fan profile as it keeps the system reasonably quiet under small loads, with a nice ramp up when things get hot. Firing up IDA 64, and just after 30 minutes of stress testing, temps are bouncing from the low to mid-50s. Not bad. So that is just a quick overview, install of the product, showed you lots of the lighting stuff as well. If you have any more questions, please let me know in the comments section below. Now, we only tested with an i5-8400 there, so a 240 radiator, doesn't matter which one you put on it, is going to keep that processor cool. But as you can see, there was plenty of thermal headroom for overclocking. Now, would I be pushing this to 5+ gigahertz on Intel? No, I wouldn't, because you know you need to delid those CPUs. That's going to be the same for every 240, even 280 model radiators. The same can sort of be said for Ryzen as well with an 8 core. If you're going to be pushing to like 4.3 gigahertz, again, 240 AIO coolers are going to only just keep it in check. You're going to be using a huge amount of voltage for that. But it doesn't mean you can't overclock with it. It's going to have no trouble overclocking with the Ryzen 2600 because my Deepcool Captain, not the Castle, we tested that with the 2600 and it was fine. So there's definitely going to be loads of thermal headroom there for you. But that brings me on to pros and cons. Like I said, no product is perfect and there are a couple of cons, as a couple I pointed out in the video. So the first one is just the tubing. I know it's going to be a little bit too short for some people. Now, as you can see in the case here, you know, it's fine. And even slightly bigger mid-tower cases, it's fine. But if you're going to be using a full tower case, it's not going to fit in the front. You're going to have to put it in the top. Now, you could say that's a bit of a con, but at the same time, any full tower case you would have bought within the last couple of years is going to have top mounted radiator support. So it's sort of a con, but it sort of doesn't matter. And that sort of leads me on to the next con, the logo. I've already had a couple of people on the unboxing that aren't too keen on the logo, because if you put it top mounted, that logo is then going to be sort of to the other side. So it's not going to be, you know, center, it's going to be horizontal. It's not going to look quite correct. But then that can be said for almost every other AIO that's got a logo on it on the market, which is most of them. That's why the Deepcool Captain is something that I recommend to a lot of people if you don't want the logo, because it's just got that sort of light bar. And the only other con again for me is the fans as well. So you can't really tell the difference. From sat here, you can't really tell they're different fans, but these fans are facing a different way at the moment. But, you know, the grey and black sort of pads that are on the fans, the anti-vibration pads, that doesn't really bother me. But the fact that you've got the GamerStorm logo on the Deepcool Castle, and then these standard ones have just Deepcool written on them, I think they could have sorted that out quite easily, and that's probably some feedback I'm going to give to them as well. So that's enough about cons, because it is a fantastic cooler. Let's talk about pros then. The installation, the mounting bracket. I wasn't the biggest fan of the mounting bracket on the Deepcool Captain. It was very well fitting on Intel. I found the AM4 bracket they released for it, although it was making proper contact, you could sort of wiggle it a bit. This uses the same mounting kit as the Deepcool Maelstrom, a AIO that I reviewed about 18 months ago. So yeah, really like that mounting kit. I really like that it comes with X299 and Threadripper TR4. Now, would I overclock a Threadripper with it? Probably not, but I'm looking at getting Threadripper at a later date. So at least I know I've got a cooler that I can put on it. So that's a definitely massive pro. Other pros, the amount of stuff you get in the box. I always like that they just throw in those PWM splitters, the fan extension cables, loads of screws. Would have been nice to see an RGB strip like the Deepcool Captain, but that's a definitely massive pro. And just the other one, look at it. It's absolutely beautiful. Best looking cooler on the market. Also the fact that it comes with both types of cables for addressable RGBs, because that standard hasn't really been set. Like I showed you, there was a Gigabyte one there, and there's like the Asus MSI one, but now Gigabyte have started using the Asus MSI one on their newer one, so it's something that's not standard. It's not running that 4-pin like you were before, so that's a definite plus. And then you've got the controller as well, you know, so you can just cycle through all the effects. So that's a massive pro as well. Comes with a cable so you can jerry rig loads more fans in. Overall, I think it's an absolutely fantastic cooler, and I think anyone is going to love this who buys it. And now I'm just going to leave you with all of the lighting effects.